Welcome this morning to the King Institute for Faith and Culture. I'm delighted to welcome you to our fall faculty lecture. This is a tradition that goes back many years at King, in which rising seniors select two faculty to speak. Our faculty member this morning is Martha Liendo, and I'll leave it to Aaliyah to introduce her in a moment. I do want to let you know that next Monday is a special Monday for us because we welcome back King's probably most decorated graduate, Catherine Patterson, who graduated from here in 1952. Returns to us yet again. Catherine is a well-known children's author. Some of you probably read The Bridge to Terabithia or saw the movie years ago. Catherine wrote that. She won the Newbery Award for that. She's also the author of The Great Gilly Hopkins, Jacob Have I Loved, and several other award-winning children's books. She'll be joined here on stage next Monday with Bristol's own children's author, Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. Some of you may have read The War That Saved My Life when you were in school. And Kim wrote that. The two of them will be on stage together next Monday to talk about the theme of wonder in writing for children. So it's a special chance to meet Catherine. She is a remarkable human being and somebody who loves her alma mater. And if you have a chance, come with us afterwards. Come have a cup of coffee at the Tadlock House or come over in the evening as well to Emmanuel Episcopal Church where she will speak a second time. But Catherine really is worth getting to know. And if you have the time to come and say hi to her next week, please do. So they'll be on stage then. We have two more events after that this fall. On November 4th, we welcome Daniel Silliman, who is the news editor for Christianity Today, to talk about his new biography of Richard Nixon the day before the election. And then 2 weeks after that, we welcome Derek Sherman from Calvin University, who is going to come talk about AI. He's a computer scientist at Calvin, and we look forward to that. But for today, we enjoy our faculty lecture. I'm going to ask Aaliyah to come and introduce our speaker.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aaliyah Ebner. I have the opportunity to introduce today's faculty speaker. Now let me tell you how I got in this position. I'm standing here today because Liendo, in her words, this is payback. So last year I found out that I could rig the system and I voted for Baker and Liendo over and over again. And then I made the mistake of telling them I did that. So I've worked closely with Liendo since my freshman year. She was my calculus professor, and then we ended up being in a play together. And I'm going to plug our play right now. We're both in Dead Air, and that premieres October 23rd through 26th in the Fab at 7 p.m., so you could always just come and watch us. That would be cool. So after taking calculus with Liendo, I realized that I enjoy math, which is crazy because I've always hated math. So I ended up adding on a math major. From there, that summer, she asked me to be her statistics TA. I have never taken a statistics course in my life, and I was like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" She was like, "Yeah, it's fine." From there, I have now earned the title of calculus TA, which is what I really wanted because I love calculus. Liendo has tricked me also into becoming the math club president. So for those of you who are a math major or math minor or a physics major or minor, congratulations. You're in the math club. Even though you didn't know it existed, it's there. Liendo is one of the most intelligent and supportive professors, mentors, and just a friend in general. I know I can always go to her. She is incredibly strong-willed and reminds me that I am here for a reason, even when I do not feel like it. I hope her message inspires you today just as she inspires me every day.
Okay, safety glasses in case size 14 fails me. Good morning, everybody. I promise I won't keep you here very long today. So many people seem to think of me as kind of the confident and rather sure of herself person. But there's a lot of times in my life when I have felt like I don't belong. Like I was a great imposter that could be found out at any moment. This started really early in my life. Like many born into poverty, I tried my best not to stick out, especially in school. But my Goodwill, flea market, not quite my size hand-me-down clothes, my dollar store backpacks and white canvas tinnies, and my cheaper school supplies always ratted me out. I never got the ever-coveted Barbie backpack. I just got a plain one. And while others had Crayola crowns, I had rose art. When we went on field trips, my mother would send me with $10 in paper food stamps. They used to be paper, forever ago. And when most of the kids got to eat at McDonald's, those few of us that had food stamps were taken by a teacher over to the grocery store to get something to eat for our lunch. FYI, you cannot buy hot food with food stamps, not even at a grocery store. I learned quickly just to make do and to be thankful for what I got. But that ever-nagging fear that I was somehow less than all of those around me lingered, and I lacked a lot of self-confidence as a kid. My situation only worsened. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mother moved us rather quickly in with the man who would eventually become my stepfather. After a few years and a couple extra siblings, this situation stacked domestic violence on top of poverty. Drugs and alcohol were being abused on a very regular basis by the adults in the house, and neither of them were nice drunks. Violence was a regular weekend and sometimes even a weekday event in my home. From the ages of 12 to 17, when my mother finally decided to leave him, I was frequently in charge of hiding away my 3 younger siblings and then trying to break up fights between my mother and stepfather. This included kicking in doors and brandishing whatever weapons I could find, brooms, mops, frying pans, even a knife once, to get my stepfather to stop hurting my mother. And she always refused to press charges when the cops showed up. You didn't have charges automatically pressed in those days. So the situation just got worse and worse as the years wore on. My father did try his best to get custody of us and remove us from this kind of crappy home life. But in the 1980s and 90s, it was really hard to find a judge who was willing to take 3 little girls away from their mother and put them with their father, no matter what the situation with the mother was. So I was stuck. I learned to live with it. I hid my home life pretty well from my high school friends and teachers, telling myself that one day I was going to break out of the situation I was raised in. One day I'd be something different. And I did that. My teenage life had taught me to be a fighter. So my way out was to join the United States Marine Corps right out of high school and get out of my crappy home life. And it was so much easier to blend in the Marines. I didn't really have to hide myself very much because after all, my clothes, my hairstyle, my language, even my shoes matched everybody else's. So there was nothing to make me stand apart from anyone else. And the senior Marines could yell at me all they wanted. I was pretty immune to threatened violence at that point, and I knew they couldn't actually put any hands on me, so it was safe. I was happier in Marine Corps boot camp than I had been in most of my childhood years, which is an odd thing for most people, I think. And when I graduated from there, for the first time in my life, I actually felt a sense of control, and I felt proud of myself. However, the part of boot camp that was so nice for me was the fact that I was trained with only female recruits by only female drill instructors. And once I went to my first duty station after boot camp, the reality that the ratio of males to females in the Marine Corps is about 20-1 became abundantly obvious. Some of the higher-ranking male Marines would make it very clear that they did not like female Marines. And there's really nothing you could say or do about it. So that small voice came back in my head, telling me again that I wasn't quite good enough somehow, that I didn't really belong. After the Marines, as I tried to be a good mother to my children, that voice remained. I was very hard on myself for every mistake I made as a parent, real and perceived. I was riddled with anxiety and self-doubt. Once my children were school age, I decided to go to college, try to better our lot in life, make something a little more of myself. Due to this imposter syndrome that I suffered from, I set the very unrealistic expectation for myself that anything less than perfect was failing. That little voice was in there telling me that if I made anything less than an A, then all of my professors would see that I did not belong in college, I had somehow snuck in, and they would make a way to get me out of there. It was somehow a mistake. This fear of failing drove me. It drove me straight into burnout and panic attacks, as a matter of fact, by the time I got to grad school. I had to learn to let go of this perfectionism, which is a big problem for those of us that suffer with this imposter syndrome. But that's so much easier said than done. It has taken me years to let go of that, and I'm unsure I ever really will, since it was ingrained in me at a very developmental age. There are still times, even now, though they are much fewer than in years past, that I even feel like I don't belong here. That little voice still whispers to me occasionally that somehow the administration of King will figure me out and decide that this poverty-raised Appalachian girl has no business being a professor. But that little voice is a liar. I've worked really hard and long to raise myself out of that childhood I started in. And I've told you all this testimony of my life, not because I seek any pity or I'm trying to trauma dump on you. No, that's what my therapist is for, and I've done that a lot, and I've, thank God, healed a lot from my childhood trauma. I've told you all this story of my life so that you, the students of King, who may also have had some rocky starts, can feel like, and maybe feel like you don't quite belong here. I want to give you the encouragement that you do, in fact, belong. I want you to see me as living proof that you can accomplish your dreams regardless of where you start. And I want you to know that you also, if you also have that little voice inside you telling you that you don't belong, that you're not good enough to accomplish what you've set yourself here to accomplish, that it is a liar and you do not have to listen to it. And that you are not alone. In fact, an article in the Journal of General Internal Medicine, I've messed that up every time I practice this, so I just got it, reports that up to 82% of people face these feelings of imposter phenomenon, where we feel like we haven't earned what we've achieved and we're a fraud. So it is a normal human emotion that so many of us have experienced. Somehow we just don't talk about it that much. I guess that's my main goal here today, is to encourage you students to talk about these feelings with your friends, your coaches, your professors. I promise my door is open to anyone that feels like they'd like to talk to me about it. Because like me, most of the people you know have probably suffered from this feeling like they don't belong as well. It has taken me decades to feel comfortable talking about this with others, because I thought somehow I was alone in my struggle, that I was the only person that felt like this. And I don't want you students to go decades. Please don't go decades. I want you to recognize that the feeling of not belonging is completely natural to have anytime you put yourself outside your comfort zone, which college tends to do to everyone. But that feeling is only your stress playing tricks on your mind. And your past does not have to control your future. Anytime you feel you don't belong, try talking to someone about that feeling. Make a list of what you've accomplished and encourage yourself on your progress. And celebrate your accomplishments, big and small. Even if that celebration is a lone dance party in your dorm room, do it. Celebrate it. Try keeping a journal or a list of things that people have said that were really good about you, things that professors have said or friends have said or coaches have said. And anytime you're feeling that self-doubt creep in, go check out that list and it might make you feel better. And please let go of your perfectionism. We all fall short sometimes, every single one of us. Every staff member here, faculty member here, the president himself, the administrators, every coach, every student, we have all slipped and fallen flat on our faces at times in life, every one of us. And it doesn't make us less than. It simply makes us human. Keep your perseverance up. Keep putting one foot in front of the other until you've reached your goal. Because no matter what that inner voice tells you, you do belong here. You have every right to seek a better life for yourself through an education. You have the right to take up space here. So please create your space and make it yours. not just here, but throughout your life. In whatever profession you decide to go into, you will belong there because you've put in the work to get there. And forget comparing yourself to others. Only compare yourself to your old self and mark your progress. Your life won't be perfect. No one can promise you that. No one's life is perfect. It will be messy and it will be sad at times, but it will also be joyous and amazing at times. And the very best part of your life is that you are the main character in it. So don't let anyone, including yourself, tell you you don't belong, because you do. In fact, you're the star of the show. Thank you.
The sharing of a story is always a gift, and I'm grateful to Martha for this morning bringing that to us. Frederick Buechner, for whom we have some affinity here at King, says that the story of one of us is the story of us all. And I think we can all find bits of ourselves there as Martha shared her story this morning. Please join me in thanking her once again, Martha Liendo. Have a good day.